So I guess we should do some kind of intro. I don't know. I was thinking like...
We can have a theme song?
Have a theme song, yeah.
Oh.
Can you sing it?
Sing what?
The theme song.
Welcome to the show where we talk about stuff!
Yeah, stuff we're talking
about! It's gonna be some good fun stuff!
Yes.
It will.
What's the name of our podcast?
It is not quite classic theater.
Yes, welcome to the very first episode of Not Quite Classic Theater.
The first one.
Yes.
Not the second one.
Correct.
Correct.
This is where we review basically whatever movie we want, but starting obviously in the obvious place.
Yes.
With Ernest movies.
I mean, Ernest, what can you say about him?
There's nothing to say. You just accept that they're some of the best movies of all time.
He is a national treasure.
Absolutely. They made a movie about the national treasure.
Yes, and it starred Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, but it was about Ernest.
It was, really. You had to read the subtext, but it was there.
Most things are actually about Ernest.
That is a conspiracy theory I've been working on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How's that going?
It is going rather well. I have proven many things, but none of them have been validated by the scientific community, so, yeah, it's a bummer.
Got hope for that, though.
Yeah, I do.
Pretty soon.
So, Ernest.
Yes, so okay. I guess we should start off with, what do you... Well, the movie that we watched, okay, the very first one, which I think is the first Ernest movie.
Yes, I think it is, yeah. Spun off of the commercials that Ernest did.
Yeah.
Mr. James Albert Varney Jr., that is his whole name, played Ernest. And
wasn't he knighted?
I don't know.
If he wasn't, he should have been.
He
certainly
should have. He's contributed a lot to society, I think. But we just refer to him by his whole name.
Yeah.
James Albert Varney Jr.
James Albert Varney Jr. in An American Treasure. National Treasure.
National.
Well, the movie we are going to review and just finished watching, just hot off the heels of, is Ernest Goes to Camp.
True to the title, he went to camp.
Absolutely. It's a much better movie than Ernest Doesn't Go to Camp.
It was certainly much better than Ernest Stays at Home and Files His Taxes.
Yes. Yeah, that was... that had a much worse plot. Certainly worse.
Yeah. It was worth a watch, though.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, basically what happens is in this movie is Ernest works at a camp, inexplicably, with no, nothing leading up to that.
They opened the camp, and he was just there, so they kind of built it around him.
He just appeared there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so his dream, of course, is to be a counselor at this camp.
Because what 30-year-old man wouldn't want to be a camp counselor?
Absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much like the tip-top accomplishment of life.
Yes, I mean, President of the United States, but was he ever a counselor? I don't think so.
Yeah, like he made a teepee out of lashings and bowline knots.
Yes.
Well, anywho.
So the movie starts with a flashback to this Indian knife-throwing ritual torture thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, quickly learned that this was made in 1987.
Yes, back when people were racist, but we didn't care.
Yeah, it was actually before there was anything like racism or, abuse or crime, anything like that. Nobody was worried about that back then.
No, because it was the 80s.
Yeah.
All they were worried about was getting their neon clothes and hopping on their skateboards, listening to their Walkmans and doing whatever they did in the 80s.
And wearing button-down shirts that are never, ever buttoned.
Yes, there was a kid in this movie who refuses to button his shirt, and probably because a button killed his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's mostly a vengeance thing.
Yes, it's like retribution. Yeah, vengeance.
Yeah, I noticed in this movie, basically no one understood how to wear clothes.
Yeah, well, that was a problem in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, the men's style of ripping off the bottom half of their t-shirts so they could show off their belly button.
Yeah. You know who wants to see a man's belly button? No one. Ever.
Except that one guy. But he was weird.
Yeah, we shouldn't
really
hang out with
weird.
him. That's why we don't hang out with him anymore.
Yeah.
It's true.
Met him yesterday on the sidewalk. I was just like, oh, I'm not talking to this guy.
Yeah, so it basically starts off with this, pretty racist Native American ceremony where there's a young brave, and he's attached to something, and they throw an axe at him, a tomahawk, right?
For a minute there, I was hoping the brave was Ernest, but no such luck.
No, that'd be awesome.
That would be Ernest's Trial by Fire. Would have been a good movie.
Yeah, but they shoot an arrow at him, and they throw a tomahawk at him, and I think the other one was a knife.
Yeah.
And the deal was that if he wasn't hit by any three of those, first of all, he didn't commit murder. Super cool, super convenient.
Yes.
And also, he was worthy enough to become a brave. So,
really kind of a dumb ceremony when you think about it.
yeah, probably would have just done like a written test.
It's not so much about the guy hanging there as it is the other guy's aim.
Yeah.
Like, if he has lousy aim, the other guy dies, well, he must not have been brave enough.
Yep. Seems legit. Seems legit.
It does. But anyway, we cut from that scene to the site of Camp... What's it called?
Kikiki? Camp Kikiki.
Man, this might have been a subtle message about the
Yeah,
KKK.
we're not going there.
Okay, that's another theory I have.
Although you're probably right.
I probably am. So anyway, we cut there, and it's the beginning of summer camp.
Mm-hmm. And Ernest, of course, is the lowly camp director, assistant, janitor guy.
Yeah.
Like he is in just about everything.
There's an extensive scene of him unclogging the toilet, which I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was cinematic genius, honestly.
I know. It was like, I could just rewind that and watch it forever.
This is actually, it's pretty amazing. This is actually a pretty good movie. I mean...
Yeah, actually. Especially when compared to, like, later Ernest films that were just direct to VHS.
Yeah.
This was actually a well put together movie.
How many people do you meet? You bring up an Ernest movie. What's their reaction?
The reaction is, who? And if they know who Ernest is, their reaction is, why?
Yeah, why would you watch that? I mentioned to my dad that we'd be doing this podcast, and he said, wow, you can only go so far with that. Well, yeah, there's a limited number of movies, but really the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an Ernest movie. My wife hates Ernest movies.
Oh.
I know.
No.
I don't understand it either. I don't know what there's to hate.
Has she been checked by, like, a doctor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All mentally sound?
Yeah, she's fine, which it defies logic.
Bizarre. I think you might have to divorce her, man. This is one of those things that you
Yeah,
just can't have.
it's probably not worth quite that, but I could see. I could see it.
Well, for some people it's a deal breaker, but all
Yeah.
right.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's a deal breaker for me, but
Anyway. So anyway, at this camp where Ernest is the janitor, they're gonna take some kids from juvenile detention and let them into camp, which I think, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get some prison kids in camp. That'll end well, I hope.
absolutely always works out well.
Yes.
Having a bunch of delinquents in camp.
Yes, in fact, you can invite delinquents pretty much anywhere. It'll work. I mean, I invited some to a Boy Scout meeting once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that went well. And then Thanksgiving dinner, that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever were, but I was actually in the Boy Scouts for a while.
I was too when I was like, I don't know, 6,
Mm-hmm.
10. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with the whole summer camp thing.
Were there any prisoners in your summer camp?
Actually, yeah. There's a surprising amount of troubled kids in Boy Scouts and in summer camps in general. It's not a terribly inaccurate picture of how summer camp runs. The only thing that I didn't understand was this is supposed to be kind of like a fun getaway camp, but it almost seemed like a military camp. Like they were doing kids doing push-ups and
That one, the jerk counselor, his name was Stennis, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing sunglasses. Like he was like, what's his name? Cool Hand Luke.
The boss.
Yeah.
The boss in Cool Hand Luke.
With the shades.
Yep. And then he took the little kid Moose, who they have the biggest name for the littlest kid, which I guess is funny, but he can't swim, and so this jerk counselor throws this little kid in the water. This was the 80s before they had things like responsibility.
True. I had issues with Moose. Mm-hmm. He was like 6 years old. I'm wondering what he did to get into juvenile detention.
Yeah.
I think he killed a man.
How crazy does your life have to get before 6 years old to be in juvenile,
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and at times he was almost the ringleader. I mean, he'd kind of tell the other guys what to do. And it's like, it must have been like that prison thing where you just knock one guy out the first day.
Yeah,
like what did he do his first day?
Yeah. Makes sense, I suppose. But anyway, these kids do not dress like normal people. They dress in a style called 80s punk, where maybe it was, bad and cool looking back then, but now it just looks goofy.
Yeah.
Kids wearing a vest and a loose tie, sunglasses with the wraparound attachment thing, Hawaiian shirt and a suit coat, and it's like, kids don't dress like this. Come on.
Yeah. Well, it's the 80s. It was a different time. It was when, abuse wasn't a thing, apparently.
The fashion was like just this vague.
Fashion's not a thing.
Anything goes.
Crime, totally not a thing.
Yeah.
There were no consequences in the 80s.
The 80s were good.
Which was why I think, people that lived through the 80s, they've been through a lot, because there wasn't any consequences. So, we're basing all of this on this movie, which is, I'd say, probably a historically accurate way to determine things is Ernest movies.
Yes, I actually do believe that. Speaking of Ernest, he is the one assigned to pick the kids up and take them to camp in the camp bus. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering who gave Ernest a license?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Like, let's send the most accident-prone dude with, to drive the most troublesome kids around in a bus. Let's put all these people in like a 5,000-pound bullet going 60 miles an hour. Seems reasonable.
And then, they're in the bus, and the kids are like, they want to joke with Ernest, and they put their hands over his eyes like, yeah, death's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to die today.
Let's just see what we can hit.
It's in the 80s where there's zero consequences for anything you do.
Yes.
So Ernest magically is able to drive this bus. I mean, I got the idea it was like 10 or 15 miles at least to this camp.
Maybe more.
Completely blindfolded. Like with this kid's hands over his eyes.
These kids have a death wish.
Yep. And so he finally gets almost to camp, and he turns around, and the kids, they don't have their hands in front of his eyes anymore, but the 1 second he turns around, of course he crashes into the other bus at the camp.
Yes.
It's like, really, you got all the way there, and that's where you mess up? Like, right at the camp?
Yeah. Well, anyway, one thing that seemed to permeate the entire movie was Coca-Cola product placement. Mm-hmm. That was a theme. Like, Coca-Cola machines in the background, this kid had a Coca-Cola bag, and
it was just sponsored by Coke. That's this movie
one
was
guy
sponsored by
when the
Coke.
Credits came on, one guy's actual name was Coke. So I'm wondering how much they paid for this.
They must have they paid a dude like the main producer or whatever this movie to change his first name to Coke.
Legally change his name to Coke just so they could have another plug.
Some companies will stop
How many
it
Coke
at nothing.
machines does one camp need, by the way? There was like 12 of them. Sheesh. Anyway.
So these delinquent kids end up breaking their old counselor's leg, which of course puts him out and makes Ernest their counselor.
Which I think is a very smart move.
Absolutely. If you're going to be responsible, that's the way to do it.
Trust Ernest with your kids. Mm-hmm. Just drop them off at his house. Just leave them there. They'll be fine. Ernest. He's a great babysitter.
And of course, as soon as he becomes this counselor, he's an immediate expert. On everything, on the outdoors, on kid counseling, on problems.
Well, that's how you want to define expert, because he gets attacked by badgers in the weirdest way.
Yeah.
You don't see the badgers.
I wish we would have seen the badgers.
You just see Ernest going, and you think maybe he's just having a spaz attack.
I'm going to blame that scene as the sole reason why computer graphics have escalated to where they are today, is because they wanted to have badgers, they didn't have them, and when people went and watched this in the theater, they go, you know what? We need more badgers. Let's get on this.
So, that realistic-looking Hulk in the Avengers, you can thank Ernest Goes to Camp.
You can thank Ernest Goes to Camp. Absolutely.
So anyway, the head counselor, what was his name? Mr. Tipton?
I think so.
I think that was his name.
Sounds reasonable.
Anyway, he's this big fat guy. who wears the tiniest T-shirt. Like, man, I want something that'll show off every square inch of my body.
It's again, man. It's the 80s. Nobody knows how to dress. Nobody knew how to dress.
Oh, short shorts. Frightening. Anyway.
So,
okay, those two chefs.
yeah, the camp cooks.
Yes.
Yeah, there's two guys that are in charge of making the food for the camp, and they're after the elusive
secret
eggs
ingredient.
eggs
to
erroneous. Yeah, and which actually makes a comeback later in the movie and becomes a weapon.
It does, but you get the feeling that just about anything can be the secret ingredient to the eggs erroneous.
That's pretty much true.
Yellow modeling clay, rabbit that's had all its shots.
Yep.
I can't remember anything else. Eggs erroneous. Sounds delicious, actually.
Mm-hmm. Here's something that stuck out to me, and I just want to take a second and just let you and all of our listeners know that if you're trying to be cool, like the cool kids were in camp, if you're trying to be cool, and you insult somebody or you push somebody down, and then you go for the high five with your friend, but you both automatically miss, and you just go down, you swoop and do the low five. Just stop. Okay? Stop and think about the choices that you make in your life.
So anyway, the scene where Ernest is taking the kids through the forest, he casually mentions he was lost in Nam once. Like he actually served in Vietnam. And I believe that because I think maybe he got PTSD and that's why he's such a whacked out dude.
It's gotta be the thing.
Maybe that's why he's always looking directly into the camera.
Yeah.
In real life, you'd be looking at Ernest like, who are you talking to, dude? There's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest? Hello?
And then, of course, there's the evil Crater Industries.
Yes. The stereotypical bad guys who want to tear down the camp for this special mineral. It's just like that's the plot in every movie. Like, the bad guys want to tear down the spot where the kids hang out, and now they gotta stop them. They're so stereotypical, I couldn't even remember the lead bad guy's name, so I just called him Bob Evil.
Yeah, well, that's his last name is Evil.
Yes, Bob Evil.
And he goes around trying to convince other people to be almost as evil as him. Which I'm pretty sure... Okay, so this company is after this mineral that's under the camp, which...
Petricide. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Which, last I checked, was the exact plot of Avatar. Think about that.
Avatar was not as good as you people think it was. I'm sorry. I'm just putting that out there.
The only good parts of Avatar were the parts that were based on Ernest Goes to Camp.
True.
Think about it.
Avatar would have been so much better if instead of Sigourney Weaver, it was Ernest.
Yes. Had James Albert Varney Jr.
Yes.
Lead role in Avatar.
But, of course, I imagine that was the original plan.
Obviously.
But during the filming, Ernest the Pirate, James Albert Varney Jr. died, unfortunately. We lost a great man that
We
day.
mourn his loss every day.
We do. Every morning I wake up and I just do a little sacrifice to his image.
Yeah.
That's how I start my day. It's like my coffee.
It's idolatry, bro.
Well, true. Okay, maybe I'll stop, but...
That's probably good. Good idea.
Yeah.
So these evil guys, Bob Evil and his henchmen, have a super expositional conversation in their office.
Yeah, hi, we're evil. We got to get this thing from this camp because we're evil.
We have to reveal every single thing right now.
Exposition is vitally important to our mission.
Yes, it is.
So anyway, they need to talk the owner of the camp, this Indian old dude
Yes,
who I'm
stereotypical elderly Indian.
Pretty sure he's senile. He just wanders around.
Half the time you see him just staring off
into the distance, like. Anyway, he's the grandfather of the nurse of the camp who talks to Ernest like he's, special.
Yeah, well, she knows him pretty well.
I know,
that's probably
but
why.
Her conversations with him kind of sound like a teacher talking to a 6-year-old. Mm-hmm. You get the feeling Ernest has some problems.
Let's finger paint now. Oh, wow, you're doing such a good job.
Good job, Ernest. You get a gold star today.
Yeah. This movie again is just filled with just racist stuff, dangerous stuff. Like when they put together and they had the like test screening, they're like, all right, let's look at this. Did no one just be like, okay, you can't put together a full like Indian headdress like as their main project and then make a teepee and then burn it down. Sending the wrong signals much?
Little bit. But you know what? It was the 80s!
It was the 80s before anything mattered.
Oh, the 80s.
Yeah.
You were wonderful.
It's a miracle there were not more actual deaths in this movie.
Yeah, you never see anyone die, like actually die, but it's implied. Ernest suffered enough casualties to have been killed about 20 or 30 times.
This easily could
Towards
be
the
a
end of the
rated R
movie.
movie.
Towards the end of the movie, Bob Evil shoots him point blank range 4 times, and somehow he magically absorbs the bullet. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's the blade, the stone, and the arrow.
yes,
they don't hit him.
Yeah, call back to the beginning.
Which
I think we're getting ahead
they're
of
all
ourselves, though.
bullets. They're all bullets.
Yeah,
And
those
it's not
aren't
like it's
blades
different.
or stones or arrows. Those are lead that should be going
It's
through
none
Ernest.
of those.
We should be seeing
close.
Ernest laying on the ground in a pool of his own blood right now, but we don't.
That's a bit. Well, this is one of those movies that could have ended at any point if just one little thing was tweaked. Like opening scene. All right, he falls off the sign. All right, he's working on the big camp sign. Falls down, breaks his neck and dies. End of movie. 30-second movie.
Yeah, that probably didn't screen well with the kids, though.
Well, apparently, let's be super racist and violence. Not a big deal.
I'm not convinced this was a kid's movie.
That's true.
A lot of subtext. Anyway. Mm-hmm. So. Where are we?
I don't know.
I completely lost my train of thought. Okay, let's see. Yes, of course. Bob even wants to buy the camp. There's shenanigans with Ernest and the kids picking on Ernest and wrapping him up in bandages and then causing many things that should have killed Ernest to happen. Many, many things.
Mm-hmm. And we go back and check in on these evil, Bob Evil and his evil minions every once in a while, just throughout the movie. And, there's this one scene where he's shooting these bottles, out in the middle of nowhere with his, hunting sniper rifle thing. Just, I guess, meditating on how evil he is.
Yes, you got to stop and think for a while. I'm so glad I'm evil.
Yeah, out there trying to get in touch with yourself,
Yeah, it's a thing.
You ever think about how, like, okay, so a movie paints a character in such an evil light, like, what happens when we go away and they're like, they have to go to the bathroom or they have to eat or something?
I think they're just as evil in those situations.
Yeah?
I can just imagine Bob Evil walking into Taco Bell. I want the number 5. Yes, I want to supersize it! I'm so evil.
It's like, how evil can you get when you walk into a Taco Bell? Like, you're asking for one of the most ridiculous types of food. Did you know...
Waffle taco!
Did you know a burrito's not even a thing?
What?
Yeah, like in Mexico, you go down and ask for a burrito, they're like, what are you talking about? It's a taco. A burrito meat is Spanish for a little donkey.
You just blew my mind.
It absolutely shattered my universe as well. But it's like, you can't be evil asking for something like that. Yes, I would like a... let's see, what are those things they have now? Yeah, I'd like a double fire quesarito. Sorry, Mr. Evil. Sorry, Bob Evil.
We're all out of those today, Bob. I'm sorry. That's okay. I'll just have to burn this place down. 'Cause I'm evil!
What if it were a rule that evil people could only go do things that were equally evil? It's like you couldn't just go and like burn down like somebody's house and then like go hang out at Starbucks, right? You'd have to go to like Hitler's coffee.
Yeah, just have some coffee with the Führer.
Yeah, sure. You know what it'd be called? It'd be called sorry. It'd be called Mein Kampf.
Mein Cup.
Mein Kampf. I don't know.
Okay.
It's back in
You
there.
think evil people like go to like evil resorts to learn how to be more evil?
Yeah, it's like they have a super evil like what are those things called? A conference? Or no,
EvilCon?
What are the things where there's somebody in a room and he like tells you the 5 steps towards like financial
Like
freedom.
a TED Talk? Like
Yeah.
an evil TED Talk?
Yeah, they have evil TED Talks. Like, all right.
Are you evil enough? Think about this. Now, I want you to envision yourself being as evil as you could possibly be. Doesn't this inspire you?
Evil life hacks.
Are you taking advantage of how evil you could be?
You can be twice as evil in half the time, and all you have to do is stand while you work. No
That
more-
would make anyone evil.
Sitting down is killing you,
It is.
and it preventing you from killing more people.
Makes you soft, man. Makes you soft.
Absolutely.
Makes you soft.
Yeah, like evil people, like an evil life hack is like you work at a standing desk, right? But you can't have one of those little standy pads that makes it comfortable to stand. You just have to stand on the floor, and so your back just hurts all day.
Oh, that would make anyone evil.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
Last time I had to do that, first thing I did after I got out of there was I just killed a puppy.
Yeah.
It
I mean, it's a reasonable reaction.
It inspired the evil in me.
Now, what makes me want to kill small woodland creatures is when you sit in a computer chair and it can't hold you, it sinks down, and then you pump it back up and then it sinks down again. I mean, 2 or 3 hours of that,
You know, I think
I'm ready to commit some stuff.
Hitler had one of those chairs. That's what.
That's probably what
Just
happened.
one day he's sitting there, the chair goes down on him. All right, Veg, I'm gonna go kill some people now.
That's what happened. That's a scientific fact. You heard it here first.
And speaking of Hitler, which for some reason we're doing a lot,
I don't know
near
why.
the opening scene, Ernest has to get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse gives him the shot with probably the world's biggest needle. And he shouts out, "I am Joseph Mengele."
I don't even know who that is.
He was the Hitler's science guy who did all sorts of experiments on the Jewish people.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
That's messed up.
What was he called? Like the Doctor of Death or something like that.
This movie's crazy, dude.
I know.
I had no idea. So this... Now, okay.
So Ernest is a serial killer.
Yeah, basically.
He confesses to it at the beginning of the movie, but just... Okay.
So this movie's before anybody cared about anything. You know, there's a surprising amount of things being burned, like real destruction. Like, very first thing is like the cool kids in camp. They go and they burn down the second chance kids, the jail kids, burn down their teepee. This is in the 80s, apparently before forest fires. This never happened.
True.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
this was before. Like now, you light a fire. Smokey Bear comes out with a baseball bat and breaks your knees.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't do it now.
Burning stuff is not a prank. It's a straight crime. And should be treated as such.
But in this movie, it's lighthearted fun.
Absolutely. Only you can prevent pranks that go out of order and have to get your knees broken.
Yeah. So anyway, eventually Bob Evil tricks Ernest into getting the Indian old guy to sign the camp away to Evil Co. And
Evil go.
now
Pretty much.
Now Ernest is a social outcast. He's shunned by the little kids.
And so now it's time
Because
for...
apparently they have like their loyalties turned on a heartbeat.
Absolutely. So now it's time for a musical number.
Of course, Ernest
let's-
does a very touching song, which he sings to his turtle.
Absolutely.
He's glad that it's raining. The song is just Ernest mournfully crooning that he's glad that it's... Test audiences demanded more Ernest singing.
I demand that every day.
I know. And it's like, your day doesn't feel complete until Ernest sings to you.
Yep.
I mean, I go to bed with a tape of Ernest just singing lullabies.
Just on a loop. Yeah.
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 It's very peaceful.
Yeah, it makes the REM cycle longer.
Oh, yes. It gives you really weird dreams, though. Mm-hmm. Really weird dreams. Anyway.
In true 80s fashion, after this rain song, everything changes. The main lady somehow decides that Ernest is a good guy now, and she goes and convinces the kids to like him, and she gives them the main reason to, which is, you guys should like Ernest. And they go, okay. And so now they magically like Ernest.
Yeah, these kids are like Play-Doh. You can just shape them your bidding. They're most easily convinced kids ever.
Yep.
Anyway.
And then they go to Ernest with an incredible plan, which they never tell him. They never reveal it. Their argument's basically, come on, we can do it. We can do it, Ernest.
Yes,
come on.
we can do it.
We can do it.
We can do it.
And then after after thinking things out in a very wise, solemn manner, Ernest goes, okay, we can do it. You know what reason you've given me for that? Nothing.
Well, no. They told him they can do it.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, I know.
Obama originally didn't want to be president. He was like, I am content just doing my normal thing. I don't really feel like going into politics. But then Michelle came up to him. She was like, you know what, Barack? You can do it. And he was like, okay, I'm president now.
That sounds great. Now I'm president. Thank you.
America, I can do it.
So, of course, from there we go into the awesome 80s work montage, where they get a surprising amount of work done in a very short time because it's two 80s music.
It's a montage.
Yeah.
Montages speed up time to a bizarrely fast degree.
Montages break the laws of time and space. Absolutely.
Without a montage, you couldn't have an 80s movie. It would feel so bare, so dry, so lifeless.
Absolutely. That's pretty much an 80s movie. The reason you have one is so you can have a montage. It's just a montage with stuff around it.
You see, movie planning sessions in the 80s were like, okay, we're going to have this montage. We need to build a movie around it.
All right,
now.
let's make a story around that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's pretty much every planning session. Just you start with the montage.
So after this montage, they go into the let's take back the camp by committing so many felonies.
So many crimes were committed.
All the crimes.
Oh, yes. Explosives, fire.
These kids shoot explosives, literal explosives, at the construction
arrows,
guys.
Everything. It's like they're out to kill some people.
They're literally out to murder some dude.
And these construction guys are just doing their job. They're not really even the bad guys.
They're not the bad guys.
But the kids are like, you know what? We're going to kill them.
It's a total war scenario. That's what that is.
Like Sherman's March to the Sea during the Civil War.
Yep.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Take no prisoners, burn everything down.
100% like that. They try to kill one guy with an exploding toilet.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the real world, they are arrested for several felonies.
Meanwhile, they are immediately arrested.
You know what? This is probably how Ernest got in jail, and Ernest goes to jail.
I know. This is actually the prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just found out about all this stuff. Because they didn't show it, like we said, but certainly people died.
So many people.
They had to.
You don't blow things up without people dying.
It's like a 40-foot explosion.
An exploding toilet. There's going to be shrapnel going into people.
Toilet shrapnel.
Lots
ripping
of
through
it.
the hearts of millions.
It's bizarre.
It's messed up.
That they would think, you know what, murder.
At which point all the survivors radio back to Bob Evil, and they say, those pesky kids and their dog, too, they done run us off.
Come help us with your evilness. And so the evil guy, Bob Evil, he's out there, he comes up, he's like, you know what, I'm evil. I can do this. He's got his rifle, sniper rifle.
He's determined.
And he decides, you know what, I'm going to shoot Ernest.
Determined in his heart that it now is a great reason to straight up murder a dude with a hunting rifle in clear daylight.
Yes, I'm wearing the suit, so that makes it okay.
Yeah, it's a dark movie.
It is. It's like, I don't know where to begin with that. The kids are like, you know what, yeah, our camp's getting bought out and leveled.
You know what we should do?
We're going to kill some people.
We should kill people.
Bobby was like, well, they burned down my construction site. I guess I'll shoot them.
I guess I will shoot a man in a heart. In his heart.
In the heart. But of course, Ernest survives multiple shots at point-blank range, as I mentioned earlier.
He's a brave.
Yes, he just stands there like a statue. Bob Evil fires at him. Nothing hits him.
And then, after he stops the main evil guy with his finger, just pointing his finger in the gun.
The evil guy's like, "Oh, finger! I'm defeated!"
What are we gonna do? He has a finger in in my rifle, like... I have an idea.
I don't know what to do now.
You already tried to kill him 3 times. Dude, you're going away. You're already going away for attempted murder.
You're blowing your chance,
might as well finish the job, right?
This is...
Oh no, his hand. I can never shoot through a hand.
He's a bizarre man.
This is strange, dude.
Strange.
And then, of course, the real hero shows up, the restraining order.
randomly, hey, we have a restraining order against Bob Evil.
Everything's fine. All
When
those,
in reality, the restraining order should be against Ernest, who tries to kill a lot of people.
not to mention that they're standing in a field of bodies when the cops show up.
The cops show up and they go for Bob Evil and not the guy who tried to just burn down the construction site. You've got the wrong guy!
If anything, this movie is certainly a tragedy. A tragedy movie.
A different soundtrack. It's more one of those suspenseful horror things.
Yeah. But yeah, then everything turns out okay. And what's amazing is not only the camp turns out okay, but magically the prison kids don't have to go back to prison inexplicably. And the camp is open all year inexplicably.
You know why?
Why?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. That is
solved everything.
Coca-Cola. It's okay to murder people. It's okay to burn things. It's cool to be racist. You can do whatever you want because it's the 80s and it's Coke. Coca-Cola, man.
It makes life worth living.
Absolutely.
It does.
So all in all, on your scale of how good this movie was, what would you give it? How would you rate this movie?
I would give it 6 out of 10 bowls of eggs erroneous.
6 out of 10 bowls of eggs erroneous.
I would have given it a little higher, except the murder was a little much for my taste, and I'm not sure what eggs erroneous is.
Yep. Yeah, would have scored higher if there were less murder, less forest fires, felonies, and racism.
Although, there's a place for that, I
Isn't
suppose.
that what
I
everyone
don't
wants
know.
anyway?
Yeah. Deep down inside, all anyone really wants is just to be a little racist, kill a couple people, and have some Coke.
Yeah. That's all anyone. It's the American dream.
George Washington, when he was crossing the Delaware, he told his people, he said, you know what, men? We're doing this for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola.
Scientific fact.
Indeed. So, that's that.
Yeah, I think that's the end. Unless you want to sign off somehow.
Goodbye.
Once again, I'm Casey.
I'm Jake.
And we have done something awful. Together.
We need